Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Friday, May 9th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
At St. Patrick Basilica, the bell rings.
To be in the church with all of these brothers and sisters in Ottawa at the time when the Pope was elected, when it's announced, is just amazing.
It is incredible.
Erin Kinsella was here for Mass with Toronto friends Virginia and Daniel when the white smoke rose.
This is amazing to be a part of this point in history. So yeah, it's couldn't be more excited.
It's so fitting, perfect place to be.
After much anticipation, the reveal, Cardinal Robert Prevost elected Pope Leo XIV.
A man, obviously, who has holiness, but also one that is open to wherever the Spirit is leading the church.
It was just such a surreal moment because we're on our way to Rome.
Dennis Girard is part of a delegation set to host a religious forum in Ottawa in 2027.
And the Holy Father has a lot to do with this whole event. So I'm very thankful that Pope Francis, decided to call this year the Jubilee of Hope. And I think we can all have a lot of hope because we need the hope of unity.
Anch'io vorrei che questo saluto di pace.
The Pope echoing that call.
He wished the crowds the peace of the risen Christ, but he wished peace for the whole world.
Professor Catherine Clifford with St. Paul University says the American-born cardinal has a well-rounded profile in leadership and pastoral service. His papal name, Leo XIV, is important too.
We have not had a Pope Leo since the turn of the last century, and Pope Leo XIII was known especially for initiating the tradition of Catholic social teaching, called the church to pay attention and defend the rights of the poor, the rights of workers, to work for essentially social justice.
And as a new chapter moves forward, the faithful are reminded of the church's enduring legacy.
We're seeing these words from our old Holy Father about hope, and then this big sign of hope just happens right in our midst.
The National Capital Region is home to nearly 500,000 Catholic followers, many who tonight are likely embracing change and a hope for the new papacy to come. Katie.
CTV's Tyler Fleming reporting live for us tonight.
A warning from doctors as the number of measles cases in Alberta jumps to 313 with 16 new ones Thursday.
It is the most highly contagious, serious infection that can cause long-term consequences that we have.
The Alberta Medical Association imploring people to get vaccinated against the highly infectious disease that can lead to serious complications.
Children can get brain inflammation or encephalitis from measles, and this can cause long-term disability in those children. So we're looking at children having blindness, seizures, brain damage, lasting effects from contracting the measles virus.
Michelle Canor is recovering from measles at home.
It felt like I was on fire.
Spending 4 days in a hospital being treated for sepsis, high blood pressure, and hepatitis because of the disease.
I just kept on thinking it was the worst flu bug I had ever had in my life.
In Alberta, the south remains the hotspot for infection, with over 60% of cases there. Calgary has 10. However, the numbers are likely higher than provincial reports because of a lag between a person being exposed and a lab confirmation. The province has come under fire by the opposition for not acting fast enough.
Of course, we want more people that are unimmunized or under-immunized to make sure that they get out and get their immunizations.
And Jacqueline joins us now. So, Jackie, who is the most impacted by measles?
Tara, according to provincial data, over 50% of cases right now are those aged 5 to 17 years old. And 30 of the cases, those people are considered active or contagious. And spreading the disease can happen quite easily. An infected person needs to breathe, sneeze, or cough around others. And it is really important to note that someone can spread the disease days before that telltale rash even appears. Tara?
Wow. Okay, Jackie, thank you.
As Ontario battles a measles outbreak, Waterloo Region's Public Health Unit is taking steps, as they do every year, to keep students safe. 920 secondary school students in the region were suspended this morning because their vaccination records were out of date, a number that is, for the most part, on par historically.
It's a little higher than what we've seen pre-COVID.
And even a little higher is not ideal, given the presence of measles in Waterloo Region, where the community has had 48 infections in total during this outbreak, an increase of 9 since last week. Public Health wants to keep any increases to a minimum, so they are running clinics with more appointments added today to help get suspended students back in class.
Really what we're trying to do is prevent transmission in schools, keep students safe, and we want students to go to school, parents to know that their kids are safe.
When you zoom out and look at the provincial picture, 197 new illnesses were reported in the last week across the province. It brings the total number of confirmed or probable cases since the outbreak began to 1,440, a number that did not sit well with NDP leader Marit Stiles at Queen's Park today.
I was absolutely shocked to hear the minister and the premier defend their absolutely abysmal record on the measles outbreak. They seem to be totally unfazed by the growing number of people that have been infected.
Health Minister Sylvia Jones doubled down, saying the province has made good progress since last year.
We've ordered a 500,000 vaccinations and vaccines specifically related to measles, because we knew that this was going to be something that we wanted to ensure that there was sufficient supply. We have done that.
But of course, the other half of that battle is getting families and students on board with actually getting vaccinated. And Waterloo Region Public Health says that students can be exempt from getting certain vaccines, but it must be documented. That could be for reasons such as medical treatment, a medical condition, or for religious reasons. Tony.
Okay, Spencer Turcott with the latest on the measles outbreak. Spencer, thank you.
If a referendum on Alberta independence were held today, which way would you be most likely to vote?
A question a new Conservative Party wants to put to Albertans in a binding referendum.
We're finding incredible pockets of support in Edmonton, obviously in central and southern Alberta as well as northern Alberta.
The leader of the Republican Party of Alberta says the province needs out of its toxic relationship with Ottawa, arguing the UCP isn't the party to make that happen.
The citizen-led referendum is nothing more than a UCP government attempting to have its cake and eat it too. They're playing both sides of this debate, and what we're calling for is the political will. Call for a binding referendum.
A new party that might already be on the Premier's radar.
I think you can see that if there isn't an outlet, it creates a new party.
When asked on CTV's Power Play why not take the option of independence off the table entirely, Smith says she doesn't want to see frustrated Albertans turn to a separatist party.
I don't want to see that happen. I want to see us identify the issues that matter to people. Let's not demonize people. Let's acknowledge that the feelings that they have a root, and the root is in the way Alberta has been treated for the last 10 years by the Liberals.
This is a very difficult bunch to try to manage, to navigate, to keep within the party and to control within the party.
This political scientist says the separatist movement could pose a risk to keeping the right united.
The more she needs to deal with the issues that they are raising, the more she risks losing, whether it be moderate conservatives, swing voters of whatever sort.
Votes Alberta's NDP are happy to pick up.
She is causing all sorts of business uncertainty by putting these, lofting these massive ideas out there and refusing to take responsibility for them. That's not leadership.
Albertans could potentially vote on separation next year. Shailan Skolsky, CTV News, Edmonton.
After a string of high-profile attacks in hospitals, including a patient strangling a nurse unconscious at Vancouver General, the opposition is calling for police in some healthcare settings.
Times have changed, and I think that we've seen more than enough evidence of dangerous situations in hospitals, particularly involving weapons.
The health minister points to security guards with extra training who have been stationed in hospitals over the past 3 years. They're called relational security officers, or RSOs.
We've got 781 of these across BC, and we're seeing that the rates of violence are coming down and that the WorkSafe BC claims are coming down as well.
The health ministry credits the RSOs with an 8% drop in violent incidents and a 13% decline in WorkSafe BC time loss claims. But Sturco points to this response from the safety minister Monday, about their training.
There is not an expectation that they will intervene in situations that could be dangerous to them. As a matter of fact, they're told when they are in potential situations of danger to retreat and to call the police of jurisdiction.
The Health Ministry issued a statement Thursday advising the RSOs do in fact have heightened training that includes dealing with violence prevention, restraint education, active shooters, and managing aggressive behavior. Not good enough, says Sturco, who thinks hospitals need the equivalent of transit police, noting that new guards don't carry guns and there's been a series of assaults with weapons on nurses.
You do not bring a flashlight and a set of handcuffs to someone with a firearm or a crossbow.
The nurses union says the security officers aren't enough and the police should be considered.
Why not look at this? This is about making sure that healthcare spaces are safe for everyone, for the staff that provide the care and for the folks that are receiving the care.
The health minister told reporters police and hospitals are not being considered for now, even though those working there say more protection is needed.
Rob joins us live now from Victoria with more. Rob, what else did the nurses union say about safety concerns?
Well, Mijang, they told me just about an hour ago they'd also like to see metal detectors in hospitals considered. They say they recognize it's not something anyone wants to see as being necessary, but it has now become a reality. They also say they don't want to see this issue of police or metal detectors become politicized. They're just things they feel like are necessary. Mijang.
Rob Buffum reporting live tonight from Victoria.
Premier Francois Legault says it's a day he's waited 23 years for. His government tabled Bill 106 to change the way doctors are paid.
Moi, je l'attends depuis 23 ans. Ce projet de loi.
After failing to provide a family doctor for everyone, the government is now promising that every Quebecer will have access to a family medicine group by 2026. In part because doctors, if the bill passes, will be paid for caring for a group of patients rather than per service. There are currently 1.5 million people in the province without a family doctor.
Right now, I only have 85% of Quebecers that have either a doctor or collective taking care. I'm just saying it will be 100%.
Bill 106 also includes performance indicators, meaning a quarter of general practitioners and specialists' remuneration would be linked to objectives that will be determined at a later date. The proposed legislation comes in the middle of negotiations with two medical federations. The FMSQ and FMOQ are calling it special legislation.
C'est le mauvais plan de traitement à un mauvais diagnostic.
Doctors are angry. They don't feel that this bill is justified.
A day after Legault said 1/3 of doctors don't do enough, the president of medical specialists shot back. He says they want to work more, but don't have the resources, personnel, or operating rooms to do so.
They want to impose objectives, and we don't have the tools to attain these objectives. This is the main problem.
Obviously not in agreement.
Ça sera pas facile les prochaines semaines, les prochains mois.
The premier says the next weeks and months won't be easy, but he says it has to be done and adds his government will still continue negotiating. Olivia O'Malley, CTV News, Quebec City.
People come and go from the hospital in Truro, a busy spot at the best of times, and while seeing police here isn't uncommon, the nature of an assault earlier this week is.
The accused, the 16-year-old, was not a patient of the hospital. They were there visiting, had some sort of an issue, left the hospital site and came back with what we believe to be a bottle of bleach, like liquid bleach, and threw it at the two security officers.
According to Police Chief Dave McNeil, one of the guards took bleach to the face and eye area. It's not clear where the other one was hit.
I don't know the exact what sparked the incident. Suffice to say, the person was angry, was not in a good mood, and left the hospital and then came back with this liquid.
The 16-year-old boy is accused of assault with a weapon and assault causing bodily harm. The guards were released from hospital, and McNeil says they're doing fine, perhaps aside from the emotional impact. Violence in hospitals is something healthcare workers have long been sounding the alarm about. leading to increased funding and security measures.
It's very unfortunate that it happens to anyone in our system. But you're right, the security guards are there to help us. And it's unfortunate that it happened to them. It's unfortunate when it happens to anybody. And it has to stop.
I do believe government's taken it serious. I'm concerned that certainly it's not going fast enough.
Neither the health authority nor the health minister were available for interviews Thursday. In a statement, Nova Scotia Health says counseling was available for staff and they're encouraging visitors and patients to seek support, adding that a review is underway in conjunction with occupational health and Paladin Security. The security company did not return our request for comment by deadline. As for the investigation, Chief Dave McNeil says they're gathering statements and video footage. The name of the 16-year-old is not being released as it's protected by a publication ban under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. He made a brief court appearance yesterday and was released on conditions. His next court date is July 7th. Todd.
CTV's Callum Smith is in Truro for us.
Police services across the province say calls to 911 have increased rapidly in the last few years, but nearly half of those 911 calls are not emergencies.
This misuse includes not only nuisance calls, but it also includes calls from residents seeking access to community services. In fact, our research indicates that 30% of Ontarians don't know what number to call other than 911 for answers to their questions about simple municipal services.
Today, a new provincial campaign was launched at a news conference in Brampton to help reduce the number of non-emergency calls flooding into 911 centers. It's called When Every Second Counts. The aim is to educate the public on proper 911 usage and to avoid calls like this one to a 911 operator we reported on last year.
911, do you need police, fire, or ambulance?
Yeah, my television is going crazy.
Sorry?
I can't get any channels or nothing.
Your TV?
For me?
Your television?
Yeah.
Okay, you've dialed into 911 right now. Do you have a life-threatening emergency? Hello?
Who do I call?
Okay, you need to call 611.
We had calls, people complaining about a cricket game being noisy. That's not the right reason to call 911. Don't take police away or first responders away from a critical response.
This campaign is intended to help navigate them to those alternate numbers that can help them source the answer to the question that they're facing at a particular point in time and avoid the use of 911.
The campaign includes all the correct contact numbers the public should use for non-emergencies in communities right across the province. John Musselman, CTV News in Brampton.
From a distance, you can see these flames and a large plume of smoke, the result of a stubborn fire at Altona's landfill.
Fires in landfills are never easy to put out.
Altona's fire chief and 22 volunteers responded to the blaze late Wednesday afternoon with the assistance of the Winkler Fire Department.
Yeah, I looked out the window and seen huge flames there for a while.
After 2 hours, the fire appeared to be out, but the emergency personnel had to return 2 more times as it reignited again in other places.
It was probably burning underneath a little and popping out in a different area.
So firefighters had to work through the night and into the morning to get the fire sustained using 23,000 gallons of water. The strong wind also posed challenges and benefits.
A problem that it does drive the flames on the surface and making it difficult to chase down. But it's also a bit of a blessing because it takes the smoke away and allows you to see a little better.
While the cause is not known, Altona officials say after speaking with other landfill operators, they've learned household batteries thrown in the garbage could be to blame.
And normally when the loader or the compactor drives over top of them, they break the battery, which causes them to catch fire.
So Altona's mayor is urging homeowners not to toss those batteries in the trash.
Put their batteries into, a Ziploc bag or saran wrap them. There's disposal sites around Altona.
The landfill was closed during the fire and the cleanup, but the mayor does not anticipate any disruption to garbage services for residents.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff.
I look for Made in Canada
or at least packaged in Canada.
Some residents wonder why the City of Windsor is spending roughly $286,000 on outdoor furniture made in the United States.
I spend extra money to buy Canadian when I'm making the decision on my small amount. So why should they not do it when they're thinking of larger amounts?
City Councillor Kieran McKenzie was asking questions too. So City Administration scheduled a meeting this morning.
We basically just reaffirmed that, from administration's perspective, we've fully applied the existing purchasing policy to responsibly procure these particular products.
Last month, McKenzie brought forward a motion that administration use a Buy Canadian policy on all procurements where feasible. After today's sit-down, he is satisfied administration acted responsibly in the purchase of the furniture.
There have been consideration for a number of Canadian firms to potentially fulfill that purchase order.
Administration says 10 potential suppliers were considered, including many Canadian companies. In search of high-quality products, the city also got a warranty that Canadian companies just couldn't come close to matching.
We've got a very good long-standing track record utilizing these proven, reliable products. And again, at the end of the day, we're responsible for the best use and spending of public tax money here.
28 seasonal metal tables, 18 metal umbrellas, and 10 garbage containers. The city says some of those items could face a 15% tariff, amounting to about $27,000 or 6.5% of the overall budget. McKenzie was happy to learn that the overall Canadian content of the total project will be high. This exercise leads into Monday's council meeting where a report from administration will focus on the trade policies for municipal procurements.
To better reflect and give opportunities for Canadian firms to participate and to be the firms that we select.
So, parts and components will be installed throughout the year, with the city skating towards what will likely be a December grand opening here in front of City Hall. Stephanie?
Okay, Bob Belichico tonight. Thank you, Bob.
Home builders in Saskatoon may be forced to build stricter energy-efficient homes compared to the rest of the province. On Wednesday, a city committee voted to update building energy standards to help meet the city's low-emission targets.
This option aligns with our commitment to reduce greenhouse gases to net zero by 2050 and provides long-term benefits to homeowners and the environment.
Last month, the province lowered energy efficiency building standards for all new homes to Tier 1 of the National Building Code to keep costs low, help with affordability demands, and align Saskatchewan with Manitoba and Alberta. But that goes against the city's long-term plans to lower emissions. So the committee is moving ahead with plans to update its standard to the next level, which is 10% more efficient and was the provincial code for over a year.
While the initial construction costs may be slightly higher, the long-term savings and positive environmental impacts make Tier 2 the preferred option.
The city says that could add up to more than $3,000 to construction costs, with $300 in utility savings per year.
When combined with the other fees and charges and regulatory hurdles applied to new construction, it becomes what some have described as death by a thousand cuts, slowly, gradually chipping away at affordability.
Burgess says a majority of her members are in favor of aligning itself with the province.
What builders are looking for is a level playing field, where rules are coordinated and make sense across regions.
But the city is sticking with its plans to reduce emissions.
I have no interest in rolling it back. I'm glad that we'll be aligned with our low emissions community plan, and foundationally this will make it less expensive for homeowners.
The decision now goes to City Council for final approval. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.